What's going on, guys? Today we're taking a look at this little guy, this little slip joint here. This one came from GearBest. I didn't buy this one. They asked if I wanted to try some knives. I picked out a couple ones that looked interesting, and this was among them. They sell this for $23 and change, and I was really interested specifically in this one because this claims to be S35VN for $24, less than $24. Which I honestly kind of laughed to myself and thought, yeah, right, that's probably not S35VN, right? So when I got the knife, first thing I did was start using it. Started cutting some stuff up and, seeing what I thought of it. And to be honest, it might very well be actual, genuine S35VN. Now, some of the best steels out there could still perform kind of poorly if they're not heat treated properly, So it's not just what type of steel it is, it has to actually be heat treated the proper way, because you can have, let's say, 154 cm from one company, and 154 cm from another company, and they actually have a little bit different performance. Just kind of depends. When done right, some of these top steels hold an amazing edge, and that's why people pay a premium for them. But I've never seen a knife, any knife from any company, that was $24 or less with S35VN, which is one of my favorite blade steels. So in testing this, it actually holds a really good edge. I can't verify, I don't have a lab or anything to be able to verify the exact steel here, but it does perform very well. I actually have a bunch of paper cutting and cardboard cutting under this knife. I've never sharpened it, never touched it up or anything, and it's still razor sharp, which is very surprising to me. So if it's not S35VN, then it's close. So there's no real way for me to actually verify whether this is truly S35VN. However, there is a question and answer section on GearBest on the website, and on this knife someone asked that question. It's the only question that's there, and they had the same question that I had, the same question that you have. Is this actually genuine S35VN? And GearBest, as a company, as a website, they responded, yes, that is genuine S35VN blade steel. Okay, so although it's not uncommon for foreign companies to put, false markings on their blades, I've had counterfeit knives and fake knives and copies of, good knife designs that are made overseas that say D2 and they're not D2. They says 154 cm, it's not. S30V, it's not. They just know it's a marketing thing. People who are into knives like to see certain blade steels, so they'll put that on the blade. But in this particular case, like I said, they said the company verified that it is genuine S35VN, and from my limited testing, I didn't get to test this on hundreds of different cutting chores. I'd like to, and maybe in the future, do a side-by-side. But the problem is, now that I've used this, I don't have a factory edge on it anymore, and even doing a side-by-side, I'd have to have a very similar blade, similar grinds. I mean, that's the only real way to kind of test it. I could take a totally different knife, do cut tests, and this gets dull before the other one. But the problem is the edge geometry would make a difference, the heat treat would make a difference. This could be S35VN, but it doesn't have as good of a heat treat as, say, S35VN from a different company, that does a really good heat treat on their knives. So there's a lot of variables there, but like I said, from my limited experience with this and from the website claiming that it is genuine, I have no reason to believe it's not. If you have this knife, let me know your experiences with it, but mine have been very positive. It really has held a really nice edge. But anyway, on to the actual knife itself. It came in this packaging with no markings, no paperwork, nothing. It was literally folded up just like that. Actually, it was like that. And there it was. That's how I got it. So like I said, no real company or information or anything like that. The only marking besides S35VN is this right here, which I don't know is FURA as a company. No idea. Is that the model name? I've had FURA knives before from like Bud K from many years ago, and it's certainly not, it can't be the same brand. But anyway, who knows? You can flip it out, or you can open it slowly. All right, you can see that extended tang there, kind of odd shape. That reminds me of like a, what is it, Woody Woodpecker with the hair sticking up if the little blade stop was an eye. All right, so you just rotate that out. And obviously this looks like a little thumb stud, but it's not, it's a blade stop. This keeps the blade from continuing past that point here and that point there. All right, so as you open it, you see it'll stop there on the other side. There's not a whole lot of pressure on this. In other words, it's obviously not a locking knife. There's no locking mechanism on it, but it doesn't have like a stiff lockup at all. How this works, you can see the little hole in the blade there. All right, there's also a hole in the blade there. And this piece on the inside, kind of like a frame lock, it's pre-bent or whatever, and there's probably a little pin in there or a little ball bearing, you know. So these are the detents. So obviously in the open position, once it hits that little detent, it drops down, and that's what kind of holds it there. And same thing when it's closed, the other hole right here goes in there, and the little metal piece just drops down. But it's not cut very deeply, you know what I mean? I'd obviously like this to be stiffer when open. I'd like the detent to be deeper or whatever, or the fit to be better, so that it actually kind of locks, you know. Obviously it's not locking, but you know what I'm saying. When it's open, it's harder to close, and when it's closed, it's harder to open. I would prefer that. But because it is light, you can flip it out, which is nice. It is fairly small, all right? It's a little deceiving. You know, seeing the picture on the website, I did think it would be bigger, even though you do have specs there. I've talked about that before. You can read numbers all day long, but until you get something in your hand, you have no real understanding of how big it really is. The fit and finish is pretty nice. Like I said, I mean, just the detent could be better. Some people won't like the fact that it closes so easily. But I've talked about this before in the past as well. You don't need, you know, a very expensive lock or a super strong lock for cutting chores you could do with a knife this size. Now when you have, you know, 3, 4, 5-inch blade, yeah, obviously you might be using it a little bit harder, and you might have the potential of that blade folding. But something like this, you know, all your pressure should be on your blade's edge, which means the pressure goes that way, not the other way. The only time this would close is if you bump it on something, or if you're cutting through a cardboard box and then you know, go backwards and the cardboard actually hits the back of the spine and closes it on your hands. But I don't think there should be any fear of this closing on you under normal use. If you are, you know, have a normal grip on it as it folds, it's not like going to cut your finger off or anything, but it would cut you pretty good here, right? Because it does have a nice sharp edge, and like I said, it does maintain that edge. So there you go, pretty interesting little slip joint. Holds a nice fine edge. I have no reason to believe that that is not a true statement right there. So sometimes it's too good to be true. Sometimes you just find a nice little deal. However, I will say that the detent could be better in this. That's my only real complaint on this one, is I like a stronger detent. But besides that, interesting little blade. If you guys get one in the future, come back to this video, post down in the comments what you think of yours. Anyone who's had one for a while now, again, please post your comments as well. But I like it. I do think that that is genuine S35VN for a very affordable price tag. I know a lot of people would love to see this with a lock though. I know this being non-locking is going to be a killer for most people, but for some foreign viewers out there who are limited to non-locking knives, that might be a very nice surprise. So that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you soon. Take care.